My fiancée mocked me in front of her friends because she thought I was poor. The truth made her jaw drop on the floor. You ever have that moment when the air around you just stops? When you hear something that freezes you in place, like your whole life just cracked without warning? That was me, standing outside Catherine's apartment last Saturday night. Let me rewind. I'm Richard. On paper, I'm a multimillionaire, family construction empire, commercial real estate, stocks, you name it. But you wouldn't know it to look at me. My apartment? One bedroom, average neighborhood. My car? A used Audi, not a Lambo. My watch? Timeless, but not flashy. My grandfather drilled 2 rules into me before he passed. Never show all your cards. And find someone who loves you, not your bank account. For years, I thought I was following that wisdom perfectly. Then came Catherine. We met 2 years ago at a charity gala. She worked for the nonprofit. She was witty, gorgeous, sharp. First coffee, then dinner, then weekend getaways. I fell hard. She knew I ran the company, but I kept the rest vague. Not as a test, just as my nature. She accepted my simple apartment with a smile. Or so I thought. Fast forward to last Saturday. Catherine was having a girls' night, and I was supposed to be out, but plans fell through. I texted her I might swing by. She sent a thumbs up emoji. Around 10, I headed over. That's when it happened. I climbed the stairs, heard laughter spilling from her apartment. The door cracked open just a bit. I was about to knock when I heard Jessica's voice, one of her college friends. So, what does Richard actually do all day? Catherine's voice floated out, slurred with wine, lighthearted, but it hit me like a punch. I honestly don't know. Meetings? Job sites? His dad built the business, not him. And he lives in that tiny apartment. They all burst out laughing. Why? Jessica again. Is he broke? It's embarrassing, Catherine admitted. At first, I thought it was a joke, like he'd say surprise and take me to his real place. More laughter. Jessica pressed on. What does he even make? Like 80 grand a year. I don't know, Catherine said. He's vague about money, but the company barely stays afloat. He's sentimental, clinging to his dad's legacy. My chest tightened. Melissa, another friend, jumped in. Why marry him then? You always said you wanted security. That pause. I held my breath. He's nice, Catherine finally said. Stable. And the family built half the downtown. There's probably an inheritance he's not talking about. Once we're married, I'll have a better handle on the finances. They laughed again. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I backed away silently, numb, and walked around the block for nearly an hour trying to process it. The next morning, I texted her, change of plans. There's something I want to show you today. When I picked her up, she was hungover but chipper. No mention of last night, of course. 20 minutes later, I pulled into the gated driveway of a waterfront mansion, floor-to-ceiling windows, infinity pool, private dock, sleek lines. Catherine's jaw dropped. Whose house is this? Mine, I said, entering the security code. Her laugh was nervous. Stop messing with me. I smiled slightly. I bought it 5 years ago, rented out to a surgeon's family. Inside, I watched her unravel. She drifted through the house, fingertips trailing over marble countertops and leather furniture like she was dreaming. When we reached the study, she sank into a chair. Why live in that apartment if you own this? I shrugged. Investment property. Generates income. I own 7 others. And some commercial buildings downtown. Her mouth parted. 7. I opened my laptop, logged into my investment account, and turned the screen toward her. 8 figures, without touching the real estate. Her face went pale. Richard, I held up a hand. Last night, I heard you. Her eyes widened in panic. You were drunk, but you spoke your truth. You weren't marrying me. You were marrying an idea of what I might give you access to. Tears welled up. It wasn't like that. I lived simply because that's who I am. And I wanted someone who loved me, not what I own. She reached for me, desperate. Please, we can work through this. I stood, calm but resolute. No, Catherine. Wine doesn't create thoughts, it loosens lips. You said what you meant. The car ride was ice-cold silence. I didn't take her back to her apartment. I drove her to her parents' house. When we pulled up, she gripped my arm. You can't just throw this away. I gently pried her fingers off. I already have. I handed over the engagement ring. I'd taken it while she slept and left an empty box on her nightstand with a note. I saw the moment her heart broke in her eyes. But I didn't waver. Goodbye, Catherine. As she sobbed on her parents' front step, I pulled away, feeling the weight of years of illusions collapse behind me. 2 days after I dropped Catherine at her parents' house, the fallout hit like a wrecking ball. First came the texts, then the calls, then the DMs. When I didn't respond, Catherine showed up at my office, eyes red, makeup smeared, whispering to the receptionist, please, just tell him I'm here. I just need 2 minutes. My assistant, bless her, told her I was in meetings all day, even though she knew I was sitting 10 feet away, watching Catherine from the blinds. I wish I could say I didn't feel anything. But watching the woman you thought you'd marry disintegrate in front of you, that leaves a mark. By midweek, the story had spread through our social circles like wildfire. That's when the real twist arrived, the media. I underestimated how fast word spreads when you're wealthy, even if you've tried to stay under the radar. One of Catherine's friends leaked the story to a local gossip site. Millionaire construction heir secretly living in modest apartment dumps fiancé days before wedding. By Friday, 2 national outlets had picked it up. My PR guy called, panic in his voice. Richard, buddy, we need to craft a statement. They're painting you as some undercover billionaire playboy. And just like that, the privacy I'd fiercely guarded was gone. But here's the kicker. Catherine wasn't trying to clear my name. She was adding fuel. Her Instagram went from inspirational quotes and brunch photos to tearful selfies captioned, "Betrayed by the man I loved." On her story, she posted a picture of the engagement ring with the words, "You think you know someone." I should have felt vindicated, right? But the truth? It made me sick. That night, I sat in my waterfront house, the one I usually rented out, with a whiskey in hand. I looked around at the marble, the art, the panoramic view of the city, and for the first time, it all felt heavy. Had I really lived authentically? Or had I been hiding, just like Catherine said? Because here's the secret I hadn't admitted, even to myself. The apartment wasn't just a test for my partner. It was a test for me. I was terrified that if I moved into the life I'd earned, I'd lose myself. Or worse, reveal that maybe I wasn't the man I wanted to be. So I stayed in that small apartment, like a museum piece, frozen in time. A week later, Catherine's parents called. Her father, a stoic, old-school guy, asked if we could meet. "She's not doing well," he said, his voice cracking slightly. "You were a big part of her life." I agreed, reluctantly, to meet at a coffee shop near their house. When I arrived, Catherine was already there. She looked smaller. No makeup, no perfect hair. Just Catherine, raw and frayed. She reached across the table. "Richard, please." I listened as she poured out everything. Her insecurities, the pressure from friends, the fear of financial instability, the sense that she needed to prove herself. For a moment, the old part of me stirred, the part that wanted to wrap her up, fix it, go back to before. But then she said the words that sealed it. "I just need you to tell the media this was mutual." I'm getting crushed in the comments. Not, "I love you, I miss us," but, "Help me fix my image." I smiled sadly, reached into my coat, and handed her a letter, drafted by my lawyer, clean and professional. It read, in part, "We have decided to end our engagement mutually and respectfully. We ask for privacy during this time." She scanned it, eyes darting. "I'll sign it," I said softly, "if you do." For the first time, she looked defeated. She nodded, took the pen I offered, and signed. We walked out into the cold air. She turned to me, eyes glassy. "I did love you, Richard." I believed her. But love wasn't the problem. Love wasn't enough. "I know," I said. "Goodbye, Catherine." The next month was chaos. Paparazzi outside my office. Requests for interviews. Investment offers. A luxury real estate magazine wanted to feature my waterfront house. But amid the storm, something else happened. I began reevaluating me. I sold 2 investment properties, not because I needed the cash, but because I realized I was hoarding assets like a shield. I upgraded to a downtown condo, not flashy, but mine. I hired a therapist to work through the layers of grief, loss, and yes, shame I hadn't faced since my parents' death. And here's where the universe loves a plot twist. 2 months after the breakup, I ran into someone, Julia. We met at a charity event, fitting, right? She was a trauma nurse, blunt as hell, with zero time for pretense. On our second date, we walked past one of my commercial properties, and when I casually mentioned owning it, she quipped, "Cool. Does it come with free parking, or are you just flexing?" I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. For the first time, I felt like I could show my full hand without fear. 6 months later, life had finally steadied. The media frenzy died down. Catherine faded from the headlines, replaced by the next viral breakup scandal. My new downtown condo, 3 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist decor, felt like more than just a home. It was a declaration to myself, I'm done hiding. And Julia? Yeah, she was still around. She didn't care about my money at all. In fact, when she first came over and saw the view, she just grinned, tossed her keys on the counter, and said, "Well, this beats the ER break room." No calculation, just presence. But the universe wasn't done testing me. One rainy Thursday, I got a call from my assistant. "It's Catherine," she said quietly. "She's in the lobby." I felt my stomach drop. Against every instinct, I told her to send Catherine up. When the elevator doors opened, Catherine stepped out, but she wasn't alone. Her mother was with her. I braced myself. Catherine looked different. Thinner, yes, but also softer. Like someone who'd been through a storm. "I won't take much of your time," she began, voice trembling. "I'm engaged." That hit harder than I expected. "Congrats," I said cautiously. Her mother spoke next. She wanted to apologize. Catherine took a shaky breath. "Not for what I said that night. I was a mess. But for using you as a safety net. For not seeing you." She swallowed hard. "You were right. I was marrying a future I wanted, not the man standing in front of me. She handed me a small envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. No lawyers, no PR, just her words. I didn't open it. Instead, I nodded. Thank you. She smiled faintly. I hope you're happy, Richard. And just like that, she was gone. Later that night, sitting on my balcony, I opened the letter. It wasn't long, just a few lines. Richard, I wish I'd loved you better. Thank you for teaching me what matters. I hope you find someone who sees you the way you deserve to be seen. Catherine. I sat there for a long time, watching the city lights flicker against the water. For the first time in a year, I felt light. A few weeks after that, I surprised Julia. I took her to the waterfront house, the one Catherine had never known how to handle, the one I'd once used as a silent test. We walked through the rooms. Julia whistled low, impressed, but not overwhelmed. When we reached the dock, she turned to me, smirking. So, are you trying to impress me, Mr. Billionaire? I laughed, heart pounding in the best possible way. No, I just wanted you to see all of me. She tilted her head. Good. Because I fell for the guy who makes dumb jokes over tacos, not the guy with a boat slip. In that moment, I realized something. Catherine had taught me what I didn't want. Julia, she was showing me what I'd almost missed. Final twist. 2 months ago, my company won a massive public works contract, the biggest we've ever had. When the media covered it, they ran photos of me and Julia at the press event. Catherine sent a final message. Saw the article. You were always meant to do big things. I'm glad you found someone who loves you for you. Take care, R. No anger. No bitterness. Just closure. So here's what I've learned. It's not about testing people with hidden wealth. It's about knowing yourself so clearly that you stop fearing what will happen if people see the real you. My grandfather taught me to hold my cards close. Julia taught me when to lay them on the table. And me? I finally learned that sometimes, the life you want is waiting just on the other side of the risk you're most afraid to take.